I've been running this turbo now for about a month, so it's probably a good time to give a bit of an update and a bit of a review. As you may know, this turbo was kindly given to me by Maxpeedingrods for the Rowdy Partner project, which obviously didn't go very well. This turbo is a GT3076 Race race edition or race spec turbo, and I will link my previous videos in the description. But if you go back and have a look, there's a bit more information. And also, if you wait to the end of the video, there's a good bit of footage that I have borrowed from Maxpeedingrods, so you can see how good the quality is, the machine work. And I mean, look at how good the front of it is. All this machining in here, like, so it's perfectly smooth, and these aerodynamic spindle nuts are like, you usually only get them on like high-end stuff, so it's much more than a normal budget turbo. This is right up there, in my opinion, with much more expensive turbos. I think one of the points that keeps the price down is the fact that it's a journal bearing and not ball bearing, and to be honest, journal bearing suits me. Seems to be you know, like, there seems to be no change in the amount of play from the first day I used it to now. And yeah, there's no smoke out the back anymore. I had a bit of smoke when I had that dodgy oil return line with the pinch in it. With the charge cooler, the intake air temps are consistent, always around 30 degrees. When I'm moving, they go up a bit when I'm not moving, because I don't have a fan on the charge cooler rad. And if you hang on a little bit, I'll show you some of the data logs that I've got when testing different boost pressures. I've tested 4.5, 6.5, 9 psi and 13 psi, and I turned it down from 13 to 9 because it was undrivable, and I turned it down from 9 because it was actually slower at 9 than it was when it's at 4.5 or 6, because you just can't get the power down. Now, in the logs, you'll probably see that it builds boost. When it's at 13 psi, it builds up more boost lower in the RPM range, and that's just because I'm keeping the wastegate closed by bleeding some air off. And when I'm running 4.6 psi, you know, spring in the wastegate, it doesn't build, you know, it gradually builds a boost up because it cracks gate almost instantly. But yeah, I'm really impressed with this turbo, and I'm really mad keen on getting one for the R32, although I'd imagine I'll probably stick with the disco potato on the R32. And I'm also really keen to do some more collaboration stuff with Maxpeedingrods, because they do throttle bodies, intakes, I'm pretty sure they do shifters. They do so many different K20 things. A lot of it is available in America and possibly not in Europe, but that's something I need to look into. But yeah, I actually can't thank Maxpeedingrods and Jack from Maxpeedingrods enough for helping me out with this, and my friend Amy at Maxpeedingrods as well. She's great. And oh yeah, dyno. So I've got a dyno who are willing to help. They're about an hour away. They're called Tuning Lab, which is actually quite a lucky name considering Dory Professor and all that. But I'm like really keen to get down there and do a couple of test pulls on a couple of different boosts to see where we're at with this setup. And I'm hoping that I can get down there within the next week or two. All depends on money, because I'm a little bit broke at the moment because I've been struggling for work. But yeah, tuning lab are keen, and as soon as I can get down there, I will get a few pulls on video and see where we're at. And I'm also keen to get hold of a draggy. Really want to do some proper testing with a draggy, so I can start playing with different settings and see what makes the car faster and what doesn't. Actually, I was doing a little bit of research on Maxpeedingrods because personally I've known them being about since around 2013, 2014, but it turns out that they came about first in 2006, and by around 2009 they had worldwide warehouses where they were able to stock stuff in Europe and America and basically all over the world, all over Asia. And by 2012 they had a big research and development department. If you go online and search, oh my god, you should see the size of their factory. It's unreal. And then I think it was in 2016 they actually started their own racing team, and I believe that they support many different motorsport disciplines, including like drifting and time attack and a few other like cool mainstream motorsports. They do a heck of a lot of cool products for K20s, and I would like to try them all, if I'm honest. So you should definitely go and check out this turbo. There is plenty of information on their website, and there will be a link in the description, so be sure to go and check that out. Just having a look at a few data logs. I just want to have a look at the turbo, like kind of like the efficiency and stuff. Obviously I'm not pushing it very hard, but it's nice to know in terms of like lag and stuff how it's doing. Well, if I go back a minute, let's go back to 0 boost and 0 vacuum. So you can see here I'm at basically in the red, this red trace, and up here on the right hand side you can see where it says it's basically 30 psi of TPS, 0 boost, and I'm at 2,500 RPM. And I start rolling into the throttle, and I'm at basically 95% throttle here, 2,600. So I basically snap the throttle open in that instant, and instantly we go into starting to make some sort of boost. You can see the trace in white as that starts to rise, and it's not linear at all. It's actually, the more boost it makes, the quicker it starts to make boost. So if we move on a bit, 3,000 RPM. So this is useful for anyone who's running a 2-litre engine. I'm not running variable cam, and I'm not running the VTEC. I'm literally just straight up turbo on a 2-litre, and it's not particularly, this engine makes 150 horsepower as standard. So at 3,000 I'm making 1.7 psi boost, and at 3.5 I'm making, at 3,500 RPM I'm actually making 3.5 psi boost as well. I have actually got some more logs we can look at in a minute. So at 4,000 RPM I'm making 6.2 psi of boost. This was just testing different boost levels and trying to get the boost where I wanted it, so I actually didn't run it out that far. I only ran it out to 5,800. But yeah, like, it quite quickly gets up to 9.6 psi of boost at 5,400, which was probably a little bit too much for this engine, and the rods that are in it and the drive shafts I'm running, and I'm still on a standard clutch as well. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and, somewhere I've got a log where I actually ran 13 psi boost. In fact, it might even be a couple days prior to this log. So I'm going to find that a second and I'll be back. Okay, so I found the log where I made 13.2 psi of boost, and as expected, it's much the same story as the last log. I'm sorry about this shaky camera stuff. I should work out how to do screen record on this Raspberry Pi thing. So we're making 6.9 psi of boost by 4,000, and if we follow, so 4.3 we're already at 10. So what was that? It went from 6 psi to 10 psi in basically 300 RPM, and 13.2 psi of boost by 4,500 RPM. Now, don't get me wrong, but for such a big turbo that's such a bargain price, that seems to be a hell of a good performance on a budget 2-litre engine. We're talking about a turbo that's like under £500 in the UK. Last time I saw it advertised, it was like £300. But yeah, it's unbelievable. I can't believe the performance of this turbo. It's great, and I actually wish I could just run this 13 psi, but the car's undrivable. It's so much power. So I'm actually really liking this turbo and the results. Yeah, so it makes good power, and it makes it bloody quick. I'm seriously impressed.